So I haven't done these in any particular order because I find that when we're teaching our registrars anyway, you're trying to get through a reporting pack, right? And it's quite good to be able to sort of go through sort of almost random cases. And this is what I want to do. So bring really cool cases forward. And then hopefully through the community, we may have some more cases offered for us to look at during these live sessions at once a month. And we can sort of hopefully learn together and kind of really build a bit of a community thing going with one another. So now we're looking at this particular mandible view. And so a bit of a word to the wise, I've actually seen a situation where you've had an OPG, which is what this is, and people have missed that there's actually an odontoid peg fracture. So be quite careful and just understand that there's more anatomy that is available on an OPG than just the mandible itself. And you can see now that I've pointed out to you, you can actually see that there is an odontoid peg sitting right over here. And you might be thinking, well, why have they got two odontoid pegs? They don't. It's the way they've taken the X-ray that makes it look like there's two, but we're kind of seeing it from both sides. And I seriously have seen a fracture go through like this on an X-ray in the past. But because we're kind of going through some more easier stuff to begin with before we start going for such advanced things, we're going to just have a look at the mandible, right? And some of you may have spotted it straight away, but a few things to be aware of with the mandible is that you've got a bit of anatomy here to be aware of, right? So you've got sort of the body of the mandible, you've got your angle of the mandible, you've got your ramus, and then you've got your, they call it the head, and then you've got your coronoid process as well. And so these are kind of areas that you can get fractures. And actually about 10% of the time you get a fracture over here. And then 70% of the time you can get fractures over here, and less likely you're going to get fractures in these areas over here. So it's really the angle of the mandible that's going to give you the most bang for your buck when you're looking for fractures. The thing to remember about mandibles is that they're like a polo ring, like a big circle. So if you get a fracture on one side, you're more than likely going to have a fracture somewhere else. So very, very important to look for two fractures instead of one. I'm not saying you always get two fractures. It's just very important to be aware of that there could be two fractures. Now, something that people don't often talk about is the teeth themselves. So what I generally do is draw sort of a line down the middle, and then you just have to count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's like a missing tooth here, and then you've got your molars all the way, and you should have about 8 going across and 8 going across that way. And if you wanted to talk about a specific tooth, then you'd just use this number system, but go like, okay, so this is going to be the right side, this is the lower, this is the lower jaw, and then you're going to be talking about a third. So you'd be like right lower third tooth. If you're going to talk about the left lower third tooth, you go left LL3, so left lower third tooth, you go 1, 2, 3. So that's how you identify which tooth that you're talking about. Why is it appropriate in this particular study? Is because when you look around each of these teeth, you can see, yeah, fine, there's a bit of radiolucency, but not all that much. And when someone, I guess, has got bad hygiene, well, I wouldn't say bad hygiene, but maybe they're not looking after their teeth as well as they could. Sometimes you can get a bit of a radiolucent line that goes all the way around, and that's known as dental caries. But in this particular situation, the teeth look actually pretty well, although you do have a few missing teeth. You've got fewer than the left lower 8 there. But on this particular side, you can see a bit of a radiolucency, and you think, okay, it could be dental caries, that could be a possibility. But as you kind of go all the way through, you can start to notice that this radiolucency goes all the way down to the edge. Now, this could be a normal structure, maybe, but in the context of trauma, unlikely. And also the fact that there's no evidence of any sclerosis as you come up to the edge of this particular radiolucency raises a possibility, or may increase the likeliness of this being a traumatic injury. Now, you can see here, look, if you come up to the edge over here, it's slightly more radiopaque, or slightly more sclerotic. Edge over here looks more sclerotic, but these edges definitely do not look sclerotic at all. So therefore, this is more likely to be a fracture of the mandible. So now we found one fracture of the mandible. Very, very important we have a look at everywhere else. And the way to do that is to really genuinely take your time and go through it. Like really look closely, draw all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around. Oops, sorry. All the way around, just to make sure there's no other fractures anywhere else. And in this particular situation, this particular X-ray, you don't have the normal 2 fractures in 2 different places. You've got one fracture that extends all the way through to the root and around the root of the, I guess that's 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth tooth on the left lower mandible. Right. So again, hopefully some basic concepts being thrown in as we go through things. And that's kind of how I want to do these things. So like we'll be able to just bring in loads of different cases and interesting things as we go through.